Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciated the questions from my colleagues earlier on this bill, and I think the point that this protects parents and children both is a very valid one. In fact, when crafting the bill, I thought about the family that the representative from Wilsonville indicated. That family testified to an interim committee that I was part of, and at that time it had occurred to me if that child had had the opportunity to be evaluated by a physician at the time of that injury, the outcome for that family might have been very different. But who this bill is going to help are those significant numbers of other children who we currently are unable to provide services or assistance to because their cases are unfounded for abuse. Most victims of physical abuse are children under the age of 5. Children under the age of 5 frequently don't have the developmental ability to talk about their abuse, to talk about their injuries, and to describe where they came from. However, in the presence of an appropriate medical provider, that child's injuries and physical condition can speak volumes about the risks that that child is facing. It is important that we have adequate child abuse investigation tools, not only to prevent childhood deaths, but also to provide protection to those children who are chronic victims of abuse and neglect. This bill addresses only physical abuse, and we know that for children who are physically abused, when there is not an intervention, they have a greater than 50% chance of being re-abused. Even if a child does not die or have ongoing permanent physical disfigurement or injury as a result of that abuse, childhood physical abuse impacts that child forever. 80% of young adults who had been abused met the diagnostic criteria for at least one psychiatric disorder by the age of 21. Children who experience child abuse are 59% more likely to be arrested as a juvenile, 28% more likely to be arrested as an adult, and 30% more likely to commit a violent crime. And nearly 2/3 of the people in treatment for drug abuse reported being physically abused as children. It's important to remember that the rate of child abuse is estimated to be 3 times greater than what is reported. And we also have to remember that 79% of the children who are killed as a result of abuse are children under the age of 4. Colleagues, this bill makes sense. This bill is important to protect these children. They do not have the ability to lift up their voices and ask for help. And unfortunately, because of the circumstance, if they are able to ask for help, those that they trust and ask to help them often can't, either because they are the abusers or because their other caregivers are victims themselves of domestic violence and domestic abuse that might be happening in the home. If we look at this child and look at all of the agencies that came forward to help her, it is an absolute tragedy that we were not able to save her. This bill would help in the future to save children like Carly, and it will help to improve the lives of thousands of other Oregon children in the coming years who need their injuries to tell the stories of their abuse so that we can get them to a place where they are safe. This bill is called Carly's Law. However, like any child who has been a victim, we have to remember that that victimization and that for Carly, this bill or her death, those are not her legacy. Her legacy is the joy and the happiness that she brought to those who loved her. And what she did was raise to my community the question of how is it that we could allow this to happen on a busy street across from a school in the middle of the day. Colleagues, we can't continue to allow that to happen to children in Oregon. This bill will help us provide that necessary protection to these children. Please join me in voting in favor of Carly's Law, House Bill 3328. Thank you.